To become more aware of anything is to become more mindful, whether this is awareness of surroundings, of others, or of oneself. This mental state can help you be more present, more in tune, more creative, and more receptive. With this podcast, I hope to help you fine-tune your awareness, help you find positivity in your struggles, and give power to your mindfulness. This is Mindful Guidance. Hello all, welcome to Mindful Guidance. My name is Michaela and I am so happy that you are listening or watching today. Thank you so much for being here. Today I wanted to talk about a couple of different things, and this actually came to me the other night in the shower. You know when you're in the shower and your ideas start flowing? Yeah, that was happening. So I realized that I really want to talk about, first of all, muscle testing. If you guys don't know what that is, I'm going to explain it to you, but I think it's important to talk about. And I think because it can be a very, very, very good tool to just have because it's so simple. And I also want to talk about how muscle testing sort of goes with the words that we use. And then I also want to talk about something that popped in my head that made me want to talk about this because I was like, these words really do matter and I want to get into it. So first things first, let's talk about muscle testing. And if you're somebody who is only listening to the podcast and not watching, I'm going to do my best to explain what I'm doing so you can kind of have a visual aid in your mind's eye. But then maybe it's best if you go back and actually watch it so you can see physically what I'm doing, because muscle testing is just that. You're actually testing your own body there's multiple ways to muscle test. You can use the fingers like I'm going to show you. You can do different fingers. You can use your legs. You can use just standing. Standing is one that is really popular among groups of people when they're showing people how to muscle test, because you can really, really feel it. And so first things first, where do we use muscle testing? So I first started using muscle testing years back when I got certified in the emotion code. And the emotion code is a modality that is essentially an intuitive modality, but it taps into the body. And so you can do this on yourself. If you are trained in and understand how to do it, you can do it on other people. You can do it by proxy. You can do it remotely. You don't have to be in the same room as somebody. You can do muscle testing to tap into not only yourself, but into other people if you're trained to do so and if you have their permission. It's kind of a whole thing. But the reason why I want to talk about it with you guys, and I want you, for those people who don't know what it is, to know it, because I think it's just a really important modality, and it's a really, really, really easy way to tap into your own body, which so many of us just kind of get away from. And so this, if you are having issues or don't quite understand how to sort of tap into your own intuition or tap into your own body, this is a really good way to start because it's really tangible. You can really feel it when you practice, and it's really fun. It's really interesting. So one of the ways that you can muscle test is with your hands. And I'm going to use the linking part. So I'm going to show you like real close up how to do this. So you take like your middle finger and your thumb, and you link them together like the little chain link fence or whatever. And when you pull on them, if you pull hard enough, they'll come undone. And if you hold on, you can hold on really tight. And the reason why this one is really good to start with is because you can really feel it. You can really feel the strength in the test. There are other ways to test on your fingers. Like I said, you can test on your legs. There's different ways to do it. And if you just Google muscle testing and go down into the dive, there's so many ways that you can do it. And you can do it whatever way feels comfortable to you. Like if you have issues with your fingers, or if you have issues with a leg, if you don't want to stand while you're doing it because for whatever reason, this is why there's so many different ways to do it, because the body just doesn't limit you. Like it knows. It's like, hey, if you don't if you can't stand, or if you have issues with your hands, like there's another way to do it. The body always knows. So, and the reason why I love muscle testing is because it really does like connect you to your body, and it does remind you that your body has answers, and you can ask your body at any time. It doesn't mean that it's the only way. It's just another tool to sort of tap into every now and then when you just want a different answer, and you're like, you know what, I think I do want to just ask my own body, and you'll be surprised at the answers that you receive, because your beautiful body, your energy body, your intuition, it knows so much more than you realize. And I think we've gotten away from really trusting it. I think that there can be there's sometimes I muscle test and I'm like, oh, I feel like I need 8 opinions, just because I got some trust issues. It's okay. But the more you do it and the more it's correct, the more you're like, oh, I can do this. So anyway, I'm going to teach you how to muscle test again with the linked fingers. So again, if you're only hearing this, I'm going to try to explain it and not make it confusing, but it's just better if you watch. And also practice on yourself. So whenever you're sitting still somewhere, don't do this while driving. But if you're sitting still somewhere, sit and practice. Like, I want you to practice on yourself. Don't just watch it, because that's what makes it so cool, is that when you do it on yourself, you're like, oh shit, this like really works. Okay. So when you are sitting here with your hands linked, I want you to say out loud positive or negative things. So starting out first with yes or no, obviously is the most common. And then you can go from there. You can say dark and light. You can say pain and peace, okay, or whatever. You can say peace and war. Like, pick the positive and the negative of something and just say it out loud while you're doing this. And so the first thing you're going to say is yes. And when you're saying yes, you want to pull on your fingers. And while you're saying yes and thinking yes, which I'm going to get to that in a second, but saying yes, you cannot detach your fingers, like, to the point where it's like, how is it not coming undone, right? I'm thinking yes, I'm saying yes, but as soon as I say no, it lets go. You're like, wait, that's weird. That's suspicious. Like, so weird. So then you try it with something else, and you say or think light, and you can just pull. You pull so hard, like to the point where it kind of hurts, because it's like, why is it not coming undone until I say dark? Okay, like, it's this really interesting thing, and you can go back and forth with this with any positive or negative. It's not necessarily opposites, because you never know if one's positive or negative, but definitely choose a positive and a negative. So if I'm saying peace, this isn't going to come undone, but as soon as I say war or destruction, like, it's going to come apart because it's a negative. And so this is something that you can do with your body in many different ways. I actually use this modality on myself all the time. Like, sometimes if I'm like feeling under the weather, and this is not medical advice, so don't be doing that. But to me, sometimes if I'm under the weather, I'll ask my body, do I need vitamin C right now? And it will tell me yes or no, which maybe I do, because I just did a little push there. So maybe I do need a little bit of vitamin C right now. I just asked, do I need vitamin C? And it's actually like going like this. So, and that's actually probably fairly correct, given the season that we're moving into. I can probably up my vitamin C, because it's a good time to up your vitamin C in the fall. So it's actually kind of funny, but you can do that, and you can ask yourself, like, do I need any more vitamin D? And it'll let you know. Okay, so this is a place that I actually use it, and you can use it on yourself. You can use it, with people who are close to you that you know really well. But again, it's not medical advice. It doesn't mean that you like disregard every other technique, modality, doctor, or whatever. It's just, again, it's a tool. But it's really, 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 really cool when you start sort of using it all the time, because I'll sort of tap into things like, if I feel like somebody's lying to me, like, I can be like, does this feel like a lie? And sometimes it's a no, like, there's all these different things, and this has actually been used as a lie detector in the past. And again, you can take as much as you want from this. You don't have to believe in it. You can think it's really weird. But I wanted to talk about it because I think it's a really cool modality and tool to have in your life, especially if you are, number one, if you do believe in intuitive healing, if you do believe that your body speaks to you when you ask it, if you do believe that the body can heal itself, that you can communicate with your body regularly, this is a really good tool to use because, again, it's tangible. You don't have to just sit there and go, what is my body saying to me, and kind of tap into the physical. You can like actually physically tap in. So it's kind of it's something that I love to use. And again, it's what I use when I do emotion code sessions on people. So when I do the session, and shameless plug here, if you're interested in any of those sessions, like, please let me know, because when I do the session, I explain to people how I do it. And it's through this muscle testing, that we are able to connect with each other and tap into the body and get answers. And it's really cool because it starts kind of outward, and then it goes inward. And the way I do my sessions is a little bit unique, at least from what I understand. And the way that I ask the questions is it ends up getting really in depth with the person's energy body. And this is how we remove trapped emotions. We find how they are, we find out what they are and where they are, and we can remove them in a specific way. So this is how I personally use muscle testing in those sessions. Like, again, you have to there's a kind of a lot to it, and I go into depth when I'm explaining this to my clients. So I'm not just giving them this like kind of general guidance. It's a little more in depth. So again, if you're interested in that, if it's something that's piquing your interest, please let me know, because I personally, the reason why I love doing emotion code sessions and the reason why I became an emotion code practitioner is because it's not just about me doing work on people, quote unquote. It's about the person understanding that they can do it for themselves. So there's multiple sessions, and it's good to have somebody else do the work for you for different reasons, but also it's really, really empowering to recognize that you can do it for yourself. And that's why I love that work specifically, because my biggest thing when I work with people is teaching them that they can do this too, because it's their body, it's their emotions, it's their energy body, and I think it's really important that people understand that they do have that power, and it really is like an important piece of getting our sovereignty back and understanding that we have so much more control than we realize. And so again, it's not the only modality you use. You go to sessions here, doctors here, things like that, but it's just another modality that kind of helps the body heal itself. And you learn how to do this, you learn how to tap into the body and ask it these specific questions through muscle testing, because it's a very tangible way to speak to your body. So the reason why I really wanted to talk about this is because I just think it's cool. I just think it's cool. And I think when things are cool, I want to share it with people. Like, I want people to know that this exists. I know a lot of people use it for other modalities, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who have heard of this, but this is for the people who haven't and who are like, what the hell are you talking about? And it's just Google it. Obviously you can ask me questions and get into any sessions that you want. But at the end of the day, just like really look into it, because it's just a really cool place to start if you're struggling with tapping into yourself on a regular basis. Muscle testing can really bring you back to center. It can help you trust yourself again. It can help you trust in these questions that arise, and it helps you remember that your intuition is always with you. And even if you get away from it, it never gets away from you. And this really brings you back to that center, and you really do start to trust yourself again. And like, I wholeheartedly trust it, and to the point where I've made certain decisions based on it, and I run with it, and it's never been, not in my favor. Again, not advice. But I think it's, for me specifically, it's because I've, sort of found my alignment with myself. And so it's very helpful for me when I'm just sort of like teetering on something, and I can sort of tap in and ask if I, just for a little extra advice from myself. Because we don't ask ourselves advice very often, because how are we going to ask, right? If we ask a question, typically our mind just kind of spins and spins and spins, and this really can bring you back to your actual body. So again, this chain link one is a really good to start with, because it is so strong. There's strength in it. I use my pinkies all the time. But again, when I'm showing it to people and I'm teaching it to people, it's this, because there's like power in it. It's weird. You're like, why when I say yes am I just holding on so tightly, and then I say no and it lets go? Now, I think questions here, people will be like, well, while you're talking, like, how is it so strong while you're talking? And it's because when you are, it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to speak it. You can just think it. It can just be in your head. And so when I'm talking like this, what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking the word positive. I'm literally just thinking positive. So I'm talking like this, but in my brain or in my mind, or whatever you want to call it, I'm thinking positive. And so when I pull here, there's no give. But as soon as I think or say negative, it detaches. So it's really, really, really interesting. Yes, it's weird. You don't have to do it, but I just think it's a really cool tool if you've never heard of it before. Another reason why I really wanted to talk about this was because, because the words that go along with it. I did a video a couple days ago talking about this book that I'm reading, and there was a passage in the book talking about they were actually testing the brain, and they had these women thinking negative thoughts, and they actually tested to see where the brain lit up, and then obviously thinking positive thoughts and where the brain lit up. So this was the experiment they were doing, and obviously when they thought negative thoughts, the brain lit up in a specific way, or didn't. It was like dimmed, actually, when they thought negative thoughts. And then when they were thinking positively, then this certain part of the brain lit up. And in the video, I was talking about how the importance of positive thinking. And if you are somebody who's on the fence with it, or thinks it's just like a bunch of like woo-woo BS, that like positive affirmations don't work, and think happy thoughts just sounds like Peter Pan, it's all fake, like this, there's proof in this. There's scientific proof that if you think positively, that it lights up certain parts of your brain, it can rewire your brain. It's really important to think positively about yourself. So I was reading this, I did the video on it, and then this muscle testing thing came up for me too, and that's when I got the idea of doing a podcast about it, or a video about it, of letting people see like the physical, actual thing that comes up when within the body when you are saying or thinking positively or negatively. Because even without the muscle testing, there's an effect. There is an effect when we're thinking negatively, when we're reading negatively, when we're speaking negatively in these words that are negative. It has an effect on the body. And we can't deny it. I mean, negativity will drain you, will age you, will create illness. I mean, the negative energy, because again, that's what it is, right? It's not negativity or positivity. It's negative energy and positive energy. So when we talk like this, and you're hearing people say like, oh, being negative can cause illness. It's like, it's the energy of it. Because negative energy is heavy, it can get stuck. A lot of times positive energy actually flows more freely. Negative energy can get stuck in different places. Dark energy will sit and fester, and it'll attract more negative and dark energy, and this is what can cause negative things to unfold. And so the importance of not just speaking positively, but thinking positively can actually have the opposite effect. It really can help you heal. Now, is it going to heal every single ailment that you've ever had just by thinking positive thoughts? No, but there's the energy of it that you can bring into yourself that can create a lighter energy body, that can move the negative energy out so it's not festering anymore. There's this role that these energies play, and it matters the way that you think, the way that you speak, because the law of attraction comes into play when you're thinking negatively. Typically, that if you think that something negative is going to happen, there's a good chance it's going to. But if you think that, if you think positively, then the odds of the negative thing happening are actually going to go down. And we've kind of all lived this before, where it's like, when you're having a bad day, you're running late, your makeup looks weird, your hair looks like shit, like you're going into the negative spiral, and then you like stub your toe. And then you leave, and then you lock your keys in your car, and then you leave, and it just seems like everything's spiraling. And it's like, well, this is because that's the motion that you have, and the negativity is going to continue to bring in more negativity. And that's why a lot of times those days seem like they pile on each other, because I hate to say that you bring it in on yourself, because I feel like that can be misconstrued. And I don't like when people say that. They're like, well, you're attracting negativity, so negative is going to happen. And it's like, technically, yes, because that is the law of attraction. But I just feel like, to me, it's like almost like you're like riding a specific frequency. You're riding that wave. And it's like, if you continue to ride that wave, you're going to continue to have those things happen, because you haven't switched waves, like you got to switch the waves. And maybe you have to dive off the surfboard for a little bit and get back on and then you catch a different wave, a different frequency. But that's kind of the way I've look at it, as opposed to being like, oh, you're just attracting negativity. You must be a negative person, so you're attracting negativity. And it's like, no, there's just a negative energy that's going on somewhere, and that definitely can be attracting more of the negative energy. And so you have to figure out how to flip that around. After you stub your toe and lock your keys in your car, you have to take a deep breath. You know what I mean? And you have to put yourself in a different mindset and be like, okay, the morning is done. We're good. We're going to have the best rest of the day that we can possibly have. And then when you recenter and you switch into the positive thinking, it really can turn your day around. And this is proven time and time and again. Like, we all live that. And so the way that we think matters, the way that we speak matters, the way we write matters, the words that we use, they really, really matter. And, I think one of the reasons I really want to talk about this is that, there is so much of the world right now that is dark, that is negative, that is tragic, that is all of these things. And I think it can be really, really hard to think positively when so much is going on in the world that is not. And I think, especially when you're a person who just feels for humanity and feels bad for people and animals and whatever, you can make you feel guilty. It can actually make you feel guilty thinking positively, right? Like, you're sitting in your room reading positive affirmations, and then you check the news and it's like all the things, and then it's like you feel guilty because you're like, what am I doing with this positivity? Like, how fair is this? Like, how, and I think we get into that guilt, which is kind of, to me, that's almost like when a little bit of darkness comes through and is trying to take you down. And I think that it's perfectly normal to feel that guilt and be like, man, like, God, like, I'm living a good life right now and other people aren't. And, like, feel that, please, because it matters. But the thing about it is like, we are not going to create any positive change by constantly thinking about the negative. Like, the only way that positive change is going to come is if we actually continue to think positively and go like, I know that's happening right now, but I'm going to do the best I can in my world, in my life, to my people, to change that. It literally is be the change. And so festering on all the negative, it actually doesn't help. It doesn't help. And so even though you might feel guilty thinking positive thoughts in your world, it's like we have to figure out how to balance that out. We have to understand that like that negative thinking and constantly feeling guilty or upset that you can't help or it's unfair, that actually doesn't do anybody any good. Because number one, it's not helping. So it's like either you have to like act, you have to be like, okay, I'm going to jump on this boat and get there. I'm going to act, or I'm going to do what I can in my control. And even though I feel really bad about this, what I have control over is what's in front of me and my life. And I want to make the world a better place, so I'm going to do better. So I'm going to spread positivity. I'm going to think positive. I'm going to make sure the people that are in my space and in my world, and even the people, just that you communicate with, I want to make sure that they know they're loved and that we can all do better in our own communities, and eventually that sort of spreads. And so getting really, really, really bogged down with all the negativity is actually how the darkness wins. It is. And it's like this weird, it's really messed up actually, because it makes us feel like guilty. So we're like, we can't think positive about ourselves and our lives because that's not fair. But if we continue to go down that path, it causes depression. It causes extreme guilt will take you down. It will make you sick. It causes you to spiral. It causes you to make decisions that you normally wouldn't make. There's all these things that can happen if we are stuck in that negative headspace and focusing on it all the time. Doesn't mean that you disconnect. You can still keep up to date with what's going on in the world. But it means that if you get sucked in too far to where it's taking you down, and it's harming you, then it's winning. It's winning. It's like enabling somebody. It's like if you're with somebody that is harming themselves, and then you keep trying and now it's harming you, well, now you're both sinking. So it works better to do everything you can to stay positive, even if you have to disconnect for a little while and work on yourself in order to create the positive energy that's going to go out into the world, as opposed to just feeling guilty because you're not able to help. Like it's super twisted. And I think I'm sort of getting off track here, but maybe that just needed to be said, because it's challenging. It's really challenging. And so I certainly have days where I look at stuff and I'm like, oh my God, and I cry and I'm upset and I'm like, this is like so up. Like I'm so, like, what do we do? And I have to really reset and remember that I can do what I have control over. And I can speak on things, I can write on things, and I can just make sure the people that are in my life know that I will do what I can to help them, because that matters. I mean, and that's as much as really my energy can go half the time anyway, So you do what you can in your own space and in your community, and that eventually branches out. And pretty soon, hopefully, you get yourself to a position that you can help people in outreaches and things like that. Like you do whatever you can that you're mentally, capable of, emotionally capable of, financially capable of, but thinking over and over again all the negativity, it's like you become engulfed by it, and that's when the darkness wins, and it actually backfires. It's because nobody wins, because they're not winning. You're upset that they're not winning. You're upset that you're winning, and now you are upset even more that they're not winning, and you rile in the fact that they're not winning, and pretty soon you're no longer winning, and so literally everybody loses. And it's like, okay, wait, that didn't work. So, and this is literally there's a spiritual aspect to that. This is why when people are talking about like this kind of spiritual issue going on between the dark and the light. And it's like, we really have to stay in the light, and staying in the light is thinking positively, saying positive things, making sure that you understand what that positive and negative stuff is doing to your own body, understanding that yes is very, very powerful and no is weak. Like it's not the other way around. And so if we can remember that and kind of understand the power of positivity, and this is not a toxic positivity thing, so don't come at me, okay? I'm not doing the like, just think positive and everything's going to be okay. Just ignore the negative. That is not it. Okay, and anybody who knows me will tell you I don't ignore the negative. Okay, I'm the first to be like, let's talk about the negative. Okay, but the thing about understanding, not focusing on the negative, but understanding it, is what are we going to do about it? Like, how are we going to change it? How are we going to rewire this? Like, how are we going to rename this? How are we going to switch that from a negative to a positive? Because that's what we want. We don't want to focus on negative forever and just complain and complain and complain and don't do anything about it. Again, it's just going to take you down. How do we fix it? How do we change? How do we rewire, rename, whatever that is? Like, what are we doing to fix this, to make this better, to raise the vibration, to get on that wave, that frequency that is the positive frequency that's going to continue to bring positivity not only to us, but to other people that we are around, however long our arms can reach, okay? Like, this is how you start to do the work and figure out how all this sort of jives together. And the power of positive thinking really, really matters. The power of saying yes is very strong, and understanding that, positive energy and negative energy can affect the body, and muscle testing is like proof of that. Another thing I wanted to talk about that this actually brings me to is I actually kind of just talked about this, but it actually kind of made my point. Excuse me. My point about, this sort of, this light and dark battle that we're having right now. And, most importantly, like, when you muscle test and when you say war, it's very negative. And when you say peace, it's very powerful. It's strong. Peace is very powerful. And, I was looking the other day at, we heard that the president wants to rename the Secretary of Defense the Secretary of War. Okay, the Department of Defense, he wants to rename it the Department of War. And I saw this and immediately I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel good. I don't like this. And I'm not going to get into the politics of any of this because that's not the kind of podcast this is, and I really don't want to hear it. But the thing that I didn't like about it was exactly what we've been talking about. Okay, peace is really powerful and war is not. It's actually the opposite. And I read about this. Let me pull it up because I saved it on my phone because I was like, I want to actually read this because it's really interesting how they did this. So, directs the Department of Defense to be known as the Department of War. The move restores a name the agency last held in the 1940s. It's like, okay, that's old. Okay, let's do something different. Let's do something fresh. And the aim is to project strength and resolve, which that doesn't make sense to me because war to me is not strong or resolving. Like, it's sort of destructing and weak. And you can feel that. I mean, you can literally say, like, you say war, it breaks your fingers in half because it's weak. And it doesn't make sense. And it's like, I thought we were past this. You know what I'm saying? But then when I scroll down, it says, and this is what caught my attention and actually what made me want to incorporate it into this conversation, because I was like, this is interesting. He says, speaking during the signing, Hegseth, which is he's the Secretary of Defense, Hegseth said that this name change is not just about renaming, it's about restoring, adding, words matter. Yeah, they matter. Yeah, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. And honestly, I'm not even opposed to changing the name. I'm not opposed to a title and an agency that is actually aiming for restoration and words matter. But what's wrong with the Department of Peace? What's wrong with the Secretary of Peace? Like, what's wrong with that? Because if peace is this strong and war is weak, then it's not a sign of weakness. And I know a lot of people who are listening to this, will say, well, the reason they want to do that is because it sounds like it's, like he said, it's like the state of the world we're in. And it's like, yeah, but that's not what we want to do anymore. Like, isn't the goal peace? Isn't it? Isn't the goal peace? Like, if the state of the world is this, aren't we trying to change it? And if you're going to change something, if you're going to make, by the way, this is going to cost millions and millions of dollars to change this name, because they have to literally rebrand, like recreate all of these logos and uniforms and things like that. Like, it's going to be it's money that's going to cost money. If you're going to change a name of something, wouldn't you change it to something that is peaceful? Like, if you're actually going to change the name of the Department of Defense, like, what's the goal? Because I can understand the goal of Department of Defense. Like, I can, like, when I hear Department of Defense, I understand the goal. The goal is to be prepared, to be ready to defend. It doesn't mean that you go, that you go out and start fights. It means that if somebody were to start one with you, you're ready to go. You're ready to go. You are prepared. Boy Scouts honor. Always be prepared. That, to me, I get that. Like, when somebody says, I'm the Secretary of Defense, Department of Defense, I understand what that is. But if you change it to the Department of War and the Secretary of War, what's the goal? What are we doing there? What are we doing there if words matter? And again, this is not a political podcast. This is talking about the words and talking about the frequency and talking about the understanding that peace is actually stronger than war could ever be. It matters. The words do matter, Mr. Hegseth. You are correct. You are absolutely correct. And we can agree on that. I like that for us. But what is wrong with the Secretary of Peace? Like, what's wrong with that? Is that because you think everybody is going to think you're a big old wimp? Because you're not. Because peace is so powerful. It carries so much strength. And unfortunately, we've learned over the years that war actually does not. It's so destructive. It's so damaging. It's not restoration at all. It's not. Peace is what creates restoration every time. The war is the destruction and the peace is the restoration every time. So if you really want to restore something, why not be in the Department of Peace? And it feels good in the body. Again, when you start muscle testing and you start saying words and how they feel in the body, because you'll feel something. Like, it's not just the linking and the disconnecting. Like, you'll start to feel something in the body. And when I read that and heard that, it literally, I was like, oh, it makes me kind of like bend over. Like, I'm like, oh, no, this is a negative. This is a no. It doesn't feel right. But how honorable to stand in front of somebody and say, I'm the Secretary of Peace. Like, that's not some hippie shit, in my opinion. It's not, even though I'm wearing my feather earrings today. It's not. Like, it is not hippie. It stands tall and strong, and it shows where you want to be, right? Like, and again, this is why he's correct. And what we're talking about in this podcast, words do matter. They matter big time. They matter to how you test yourself. They matter to what's going on in your body. They matter to, like, illnesses that can come out because of the frequency that you're speaking and thinking. Yeah, they matter, for sure. He knows they matter. This is why they want to change it, because they know that if people see that over and over and over again all around the world, then they're coming with that very specific frequency. So it's a scare tactic. It's a fear. It's fear-based, 100%. And people can look at that, and you don't intuitively and physiologically connect war with anything good. So it's, without even recognizing it, just reading it, brings a certain kind of energy. And I understand why they want to do it, because it is fear-based. It is, watch out, better not do that or else, because this is who I am now and this is what this department is now. There's no getting around it, right? It's like, why change something? Why spend millions of dollars changing something if you don't have a goal? Like, why would that be? Why? If words matter. Like, this is my little question, and maybe it'll reach somebody somewhere and be like, hey, you know what? Why can't we be the Department of Peace? Like, that just feels right, because that is what the world needs right now. Again, more peace, less destruction, more positive thinking. I hate to say it, but positive shifts, positive goals, positive ways of living, so that we can get out of this mess. Like, isn't that the point? Like, I get so confused, because it feels right to me, and I think it feels right to other people. And so when I see stuff like this, it just aligns with a lot of the things that I made a video about the other day. I wanted to talk about this on my podcast. It really actually does align with the muscle testing, whether you believe in it or not. But you have to feel that. And it's like, if you're always surrounded by this, if that's your title, like, that to me is inviting in, like, just bad vibes. Like, the vibes won't be vibing in that office, because like he said, words matter. So it's like, what are we doing here? I don't know, it just feels icky. And I wanted to put that in here because again, it's relevant. It's super, super relevant. And, I'm hoping that, if people see this or hear this, they can kind of understand what I'm talking about. And hopefully it's an invitation or a motivation to come back to yourself and be like, yeah, what is the goal? What are we doing? What's my goal? Like, how am I going to get to a better place so that I can be not only a good person for me, for the man in the mirror, woman in the mirror, but for those around me, so that when I'm around, it elevates them. When they elevate, it elevates others. Like, how can we create peace? Because that's really what it comes down to. We, the people, need to create peace, period. And you can call it like hippy dippy or woo woo, or think that I'm talking Looney Tunes, but it's real. Like, we have to find a way to create peace within ourselves, because it's not happening in other places. It's actually like, it's a little odd. And so it's like, okay, if we can see that, and we can't really control that, but we can do our best to generate that peace within and create peace for others, and understand what peace actually means, and feel it in our bones, and understand how powerful peace really is. Positivity, being a decent human being, understanding others, having conversations, bringing people in and showing them, respect and love, and helping others day in and day out, generating peace within us, then maybe at some point it will start to resonate outward. That frequency can resonate out, and maybe this won't go through because somebody somewhere will be like, you know what, this doesn't feel right. And I muscle tested it, and it just said no. That'd be awesome, right? If a congressperson was like, we muscle tested, and it was a hard no. Like, let's go, Congress! Let's go! That's what I want. That's what I want, because it is up to Congress to see if they want to change this or not. And so maybe I'm gonna send this to Congress, be like, hey, y'all need a muscle test and get a hard no, and change this to the Secretary of Peace, because that's what we need in the world. That's what we need. Anyway, I think I'm done with my TED Talk. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. I wanted to talk about that. I've been wanting to talk about that for the last couple of days. Like I said, I was in the shower the other night, and I was like, oh, like, this is so real, tapping into the body, the yeses and nos, the positive and negative, these frequencies that we align with. And it really goes It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And again, this is why, like he said, words matter, because they know. It's not just us little people here doing our little, tarot cards in the, in the in our bedrooms. Like, they know. They know it matters. They know what frequency they're putting out, 100%. And so if we can be reminded of that and do what we can to put out different frequencies, align with things differently, align with ourselves, and understand that we have the answers. The answers are within here. They are. And if we can get back to that place, then, I think we can start to see real change because it matters. So thank you so much for listening, you guys. Again, if you ever have any questions on the emotion code work that I do, please reach out and I can explain it to you. We can book a session. Again, shameless plug because it's my podcast and I can. And if you guys ever have any other questions about anything that I do, you can follow me on social media. You can always reach out. I think that's all I really have to say. I don't really have anything to promote right now. I will be getting back on my emails. So if you want to get emails from me, please just message me and let me know, because I know a lot of people like emails instead of social media. What else? I think that's it. But yeah, well, thank you so much for listening, you guys. And I'm hoping to get back. I say this every time. It's really annoying, actually. Every time I'm like, I'm going to get back on my podcast game. I'm going to do once a week. And then I don't do shit for 3 months. But I really am going to try to get back on doing this once a week. And so if there's any topics that you guys want me to talk about, or if you want to actually chat with me on a podcast, please reach out, because I've been wanting to do that. Just because I think that would be fun, because I like talking to people, especially people that I don't always align with. That's always fun. But other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you really, really actually think happy thoughts for real. Write out positive affirmations, say them to yourself, say them to your families. Think those happy thoughts, because they really, 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 really matter. And I am really hoping for change. So if you're on board with that, cool. I'm ready for change, for sure. A good change. Let's specify. When we're asking for change, let's specify we want positive change. Positive change, because that's what the world needs right now. And I'm going to think happy thoughts today for myself and for you guys. Sending you so much love, and I hope you have a wonderful, mindful day. Until next time. Bye. Choosing to work on mindfulness in everyday life is a big step to a more positive mindset, to relieving unnecessary stress, and to living a more mindful life. If you enjoyed this podcast, please remember to follow and rate the show. There are also links in the description to check out my website, where you can subscribe to my email list or get info on my ongoing coaching programs and what else I have to offer. You can also follow my wellness and mindset coaching Instagram and Facebook for daily motivation, updates, and free offers. Social media is a great place to connect, and I do love connecting to those that reach out for guidance. If you want to chat more about this topic, please feel free to reach out on any of my platforms. I would love to have an open discussion about how this resonates with you. As podcasting is not a money-making part of my life and something I do on the side without ads attached, gratuity is always welcome, if and only if you feel called to do so, because something lit you up, gave you an idea or new perspective, or you simply feel grateful in the moment and want to support a startup. There is a tip jar link below. I am always so grateful for the support. Thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful, mindful day. Until next time.